Now, besides let and const, another major feature added with next-gen JavaScript, with ES6 specifically, were arrow functions. Now let's rewrite this add function down here, and let's not use the function keyword, but let's instead use this new arrow function syntax. For that, you have to write the function as an expression which you store in a variable. So we could have our add variable, and that can hold a function with the function keyword, as you probably know, but you can now also write a function without the function keyword, with your parameter list, then an arrow, which you construct by using an equal sign and a greater than sign, and then your function body. And this is a valid function. So here you can now also assign parameters and use them, and for example, return it like this. And then if we console log add 2 and 5 here, like that, and we save everything, we'll see 7 in the console here. So that is something we can do. That's a new syntax, and one obvious benefit is that it's a bit shorter. We save the function keyword. Another benefit is that it has a couple of nice variations, which make it even more useful. For example, besides this already very short syntax here, you could also, if you just have one expression, omit the curly braces, like this, and then also remove the return statement, and just write this function like that. If you only have one expression, you can omit the curly braces, and the result of that one expression is then automatically returned. So there always is an implicit return statement in front of this. So now this is way shorter than the function alternative, as you can tell. Now again, this only is available though if you have one expression. If you had two expressions or more in the body of that function, you could not use this shorter syntax. You would need a normal function body surrounded with curly braces. Another nice variation is that if you have a function that only takes one parameter, let's say we have our print output function, and that takes output, which is a string or a number, let's say, using a little union type here. And then we console log output here. Then we can, of course, use that to call print output here and add 5 and 2. But now, of course, for 1, we can shorten this by removing the curly braces. I'm not really interested in the returned value of console log, but it's also not a problem if we do return it, because as you learned, there is an implicit return statement. But now, since we only have one argument, we can even omit the parentheses around that argument. However, with a type assignment, it will then not work. It would work like that, which works in vanilla JavaScript, but which is not supported in TypeScript because we omit the type assignment. But if we would have the type assignment in a different place, let's say with the function type assigned to the constant, which also gives TypeScript information about what will be stored in a constant, then this would be a syntax we can use. So if we have this setup here, and we give that type information to TypeScript in a different place, then we could use this more concise syntax. Now, arguably, here we don't save a lot, because now we had to add that type assignment on our own. But a case where we would save a lot is, for example, if we reach out to a button, which we find in the DOM maybe. And please note here, I have no button in the DOM, but we can try to find one nonetheless. And we then add an event listener. And now, to make sure that TypeScript does not complain because button could be null, as it actually is here, we can wrap this code into a if check, as you learned. And now add an event listener to a click. And now here, we want to pass in a function that should be executed. Well, that can be an anonymous function here, just like that. And that shows us how great arrow functions are. That's really not a lot of code. And in here, we get the event object, which we now could console log, like this. Now here we don't need to specify any function type anywhere, because TypeScript knows what add event listener will provide to us, that this will be an event object. So indeed, TypeScript is able to infer this, even the correct event object based on the event we're listening to. And hence here we can then really take advantage of this very short and concise syntax. So these are some of the variations of arrow functions, and of course I already used arrow functions thus far in the course, just wanted to make it really clear again what they are and what we can do with them.